Well, hello there, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're safe and well. In this video I'll be testing JSB Diablo shorts. Let's roll the titles. Well, I've heard a lot of people raving about these pellets, JSB Exact Diablo shorts. Apparently they're the in thing for anything from bench rest to HFT to everything. So I finally managed to get my hands on a couple of tins. Lee at the gun room at Cambridge Gun Club kindly ordered me a couple of tins. Seems to be as soon as most stockists get them, they sell out, so they are quite popular. So I thought, time to give them a test and see what the fuss is all about. So I'm going to use my normal pellet test routine. If you've seen me doing any other pellet tests on this channel, I'll do a quick check of the quality, looking at what they look like coming out of the tin, and I'll be putting them on the scales to see what the average weight is like. And then I'm going to pull out a selection of my PCPs, might even try them in a Springer as well, and see how they compare to what I've consider is the best pellets for each of my rifles at the moment. See if they're better. Let's get on with it. Here are my two 10s there, and they're both identical, just showing this one in reverse so you can see the details of the die number and the dates on the label. What I'm going to do is the usual checks. I'll open the tin up and tip it on a white cloth. We'll look for damage to pellets and any debris in the tin. And then we'll take a selection of pellets and work out what the average weight is and compare that to what it says on the tin. Let's take a quick look at how the standard JSB compares to the JSB short size. What size then? On the right here, in both cases, you've got the standard JSB Diablo 4.52 head size, 8.44 grain. And to the left of it is the JSB short, also 4.52 head size, and you can see the skirt thickness and the inset in the back. It's a little bit confusing actually how they managed to get the short to weigh the same as the standard one, but I guess if you look at the waist on the standard pellet is a lot thinner than the waist on the short, so I suppose that's where the extra lead goes. Anyway, that's how they compare in sort of size and shape. Let's open these up then, tip them out. All right, make sure this is zoomed in, looking at that. Well, as you can see, tin's clean, no debris on the tin, at all. Just making sure that camera's in focus, but looking at these, no obvious damage to anything. So let's tip them back in the tin, see if what we got left on the cloth. Move the tin out of the way. Well, I think you can see there, oh, one little tiny speck. Other than that, pretty clean. So not bad. Let's do the weight test then. I've got 5 groups of 10 pellets randomly selected directly out of the tin. We're going to weigh them and see what the average is of each group. So we'll start with the first group. They are 84.88, so that's an average of 8.49. Rid of those. Second group. 8.47. 8.45. 8.5. And 8.48. So not too bad, all pretty close really. Well, starting out with the BRK Ghost, I've still got the version 1 Zulus 3 to 12 LRF fitted, so I'll be using this for this test. Pellet of choice for the Ghost at the moment is the Rangemaster Sovereigns, so we'll be comparing the JSB shorts with those. Going to be shooting 2 5-shot groups. Being interrupted by a Hercules today, the US Air Force. Anyway, yep. Pellet choice is the Sovereigns. Going to be shooting 2 5-shot groups with the Sovereigns, then 2 5-shot groups with the shorts. Bit of a blustery wind today, a sort of multi-directional wind, so I don't expect the groups to be too tight, but hopefully the conditions will be the same for each pellet, so we'll get an idea of which one's the best. So let's crack on, shall we? Let's look at the shorts. Well, that's the test with the Ghost completed then. Let's look at the results for the pellets through the Ghost then. The 2 groups on the left are the Rangemaster Sovereigns, which are my usual go-to pellet for this rifle, and on the right are the JSB shorts. Just as a reminder, these targets, the black circle is 20mm in diameter, and the little dot in the centre is 5mm, just to give you some scale. As you can see, there is some wind drift here, left to right. Wasn't ideal conditions. If we look, we've got one flyer here to the right. If I ignore that, that 4 pellet group easily goes inside a 15mm grouping, and as you can see there, easily 10mm centre to centre, probably an 11 to 12mm group for those 4 pellets. Moving across, again, we've got this other flyer here. It's funny that, you know, I will put that down to wind, the fact that they're in a similar position. And then we've got those 4 shots easily in the 10mm group. Moving across to the shorts, we've got 2 groupings here, 2 shots and 3 shots. If I put the 15 on, that's a 15mm group centre to centre, probably nearer 17mm to contain them. But those 3 shots easily go inside 10mm. This is the better group of the 2 for the shorts, and you can see there they're all inside a 15mm, and those 3 shots inside 10mm. So not much between them, to be honest. I'll have to try these again in better conditions, but at the moment I don't see anything that that supports a switch from Rangemaster Sovereigns to JSB shorts for the Ghost. Right, turn of the Wolverine now then. Same situation, 2 5-shot groups with the Rangemaster Sovereigns. We're shooting at 35 yards, if I didn't mention it. And then 2 5-shot groups with the JSB shorts. So let's get on with it. Take that one again, wrong aim point. This is 0 to 25 yards, so I've got to make allowances and not use my crosshairs. Switch pellets. That's the Wolverine done then. Here are the results for the pellets through the Wolverine then. Again, on the left, the Rangemaster Sovereigns, and on the right, the JSB shorts. Sovereign groups have come out a little bit high based on the holdover that I was using, because this rifle is zeroed at 25 yards and we were shooting at 35 yards. But looking at the first group, got distinct flyer here that's gone off to the right, similar to the flyer that the flyers that we saw from the Ghost, funnily. But looking here, 4 shots inside 15mm there. I would have expected sort of a better grouping really with the Wolverine, probably down to my shooting more than the rifle. 2 shots in here and a group of 3 there. They go inside 15. Definitely sort of 15 centre to centre, probably nearer 16, 17 millimetre group there. When we move across to the shorts with this rifle, a distinct difference. The first group, we've got another flyer to the right that I'll put down to the wind. But looking at this, that's probably an 11mm group, those 4 shots, and then the best grouping of all, 5 shots inside 10mm. So certainly with the Wolverine, in this instance, it looks like the JSB shorts performed a lot better through that rifle. And so I'll have to do some more testing with the Wolverine to see whether it's going to be a good move to switch from the Rangemaster Sovereigns to the JSB shorts. But I think you can agree there is a definite improvement with the shorts compared to the sovereigns through the Wolverine. Now it's the turn of the Arms S400. I'm using the Arms Field 8.4 grain 4.52 head pellets, which is the pellets I usually use in this rifle, and we'll compare those against the JSB shorts. Switch pellets. And that's the S400 done. Here are the results for the pellets through the Arms S400. First off, please ignore this shot here. This was a shot through the Wolverine where I used the wrong aim point, so it dropped really low. So just ignore that one. You can see fairly tight group given the conditions with the Arms Diablo fields in the first group, and then quite a lot of wind drift in this group here, but on the same horizontal line. So without the wind, they probably would have been on top of that group there. Let's have a look at the sizes. So we've got a 15mm group there. Those three are in side 10, and they're all in 20. That won't go in there. They won't go in 15. Shame about the wind drift there. I think that group would have been better. I think this group would have been better than this group if they hadn't drifted. Yeah, but 15 there. If we move across to the shorts, you can see this barrel didn't like those pellets at all, really. They're well spread out. You've got 4 shots there in 15, another drift in there. That's probably the best group of grouping with the shorts. And then these ones, again, we've got that drifter in the wind there. These ones spread out a bit. So 2 15mm groups. I think looking at that, I don't see any improvement on the shorts, and I think looking at that I would assess that the Diablo fields a slightly better performance in this instance. So don't see any evidence to switch with the S400. Now it's the turn of the Arms FTP900, and again, pellets I'm using to begin with are the Arms Field 452s, 8.4 grain. Okay, switch over to the shorts. I'm going to stick another couple down there just to see if I can discount those ones that were blown off right to the right. Just wait for the wind to drop before we put these down range. Okay, that's the FTP900 finished then. Here are the results of the pellets through the FTP900 then. Again, on the left, the two groups for the Air Arms pellets, and on the right for the JSB shorts. Again, we've experienced a bit of wind drift here. Not so much with the Air Arms pellets as we did with the shorts, but we'll get into that. So looking at this first group then, 15mm group there. We've got this one flyer out here, so these 4 shots are well within 15mm, probably closer to 10mm centre to centre. So we've got 4 shots on that side well within 10mm. Moving across to the JSB shorts, all 5 there in 15mm. Those 3 shots in the centre there, nice group of 3 inside 10mm. And then we had a lot of wind drift here. You can see that they're both on the same level, so it's clearly the wind blowing them to the right. So I shot an extra couple of shots there, and we can see here that we've got 5 shots in about, we're centre to centre, easily 10mm, but I reckon 11mm, 12mm group there, say easily inside 15. You can see how much smaller the group is than the 15mm circle. So this one's a bit close actually. I think I'll have to do some further testing with these. I'll probably do some testing at 25 meters on a bench rest target, 2 or 3 shot groups to try and sort of weed out which one's better. But this is quite close. That's a bit too close to call, I think, that one. Okay, final test then. We're going to switch to Springer. I've got my HW97. Now, you know, if you've watched any of my videos before where I've tried to shoot the 97 off a bench and never have great success, always shoot it better prone off a peg. But we've got the bench out, so we'll give it a go. It's either going to work or it's going to be a disaster. We'll see how we get on. So starting off then, I'm going to be using the Weirauch FT Exact pellets, which is the favoured pellets of this rifle, and then switch over and compare them to the shorts. Right, well at least they all went on the target. Switch over the shorts then. Now this rifle tends to like the 4.53s, the wider skirts. It likes the tight fitting pellet, so that fits quite nicely actually. I'm not sure, wasn't sure whether these pellets were going to be a bit too loose in the barrel for this, but we'll see. Ooh. Oh, that one went way off. The second group, shorts all over the place. Well, I've got 3 in a reasonable group. Okay, so that's the Springer done then. So that's all the shooting out the way. And finally then, here are the results for the pellets through the HW97 spring rifle. Now, I think I mentioned in the shooting portion of the video that I don't normally have much success shooting the 97 from a bench. But that being said, you know, bearing in mind the wind drift, that would not be a bad group if it was still air, and that wouldn't be too bad either. Let's have a look at the size of those groups. So we've got this, if I discount this flyer on the right, we've got 4 shots in 15mm. There's actually 2 shots through there. It's near enough through the same hole. So that's not too bad. And then moving across here to this grouping, we've got, well, if I take out that 1 shot there, we've got 4 in 15mm there, and they easily sit in 20mm. That easily sits in 20mm. So a little bit better than I was expecting shooting from the bench. We move across to the shorts. You see this rifle doesn't like the shorts at all. They're basically all over the place. The fact that the elevation's different rather than the windage suggests that this barrel in this rifle just doesn't like these JSB shorts. So that's pretty definitive on these results, I think. So certainly for the 97, for the moment, I'll be sticking with the FT exacts. I did do another quick test with the Ghost the day after my initial shooting test. Here's the card. Conditions were slightly better, still not ideal. Let's have a look at that card, closer look at that card now. This card was shot the following day in slightly better conditions, not ideal, but slightly better. Just had some time on my hands and just wanted to have another check. You can see, looking at the best group of the twos, this is certainly the best group through the Ghost with the Diablo fields, and this is the best group with the JSB shorts. And looking at this, you can see easily 10mm centre to centre, easily inside of 15. But this group, the JSB short groups, that's the better of the two inside a 10mm circle. So this seems to suggest that the shorts are slightly better in the Ghost. The jury's still out on this one. I'll have to do some more testing with it, but yeah, looks like that might be an improvement over the Air Arms pellets through the Ghost. Before we go any further, I need to make my disclaimer again. These are the results I obtained through the barrels in my rifles. You might find totally different results through yours. So therefore, I urge you to do your own testing and find out what works for you. Enough said. Well, not the most definitive or clinical test then. The conditions weren't ideal, but I think the results give me enough of an idea of which rifles are worth pursuing with the shorts and doing further testing with, both outside and ideally on an indoor range. You've seen the results, you can make up your own minds, but yeah, if you fancy it, give them a test. You might find that they work for you in your rifles. Well, that's all I've got for you for this video. If you're still with me, thanks for watching. If you found that interesting, then you know what to do. Please like, share and subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.